Madam Speaker, at this time I would like to yield 5 minutes to my distinguished colleague and friend from North Carolina, currently as chairman of the Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee of the House Financial Services Committee, Mr. Watt.
Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized for 5 minutes.
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection.
Madam Speaker, in October of 2002, I worked meticulously with members of the Congressional Black Caucus to craft a statement of principles that has proven to be so absolutely prophetic. Listen to what our 2002 principles said, and it will put in context why I feel so strongly that this war has taken us in the wrong direction and why this resolution is so necessary and worthy of our support. First principle, quote, we oppose a unilateral first strike action by the United States without a clearly demonstrated and imminent threat of attack on the United States, close quote. My colleagues, history will record that the President took first strike action and that there was neither a clearly demonstrated nor an imminent threat of attack on the United States. Second principle, quote, only Congress has the authority to declare war, close quote. History will record that Congress delegated that authority to the President. But I say unapologetically that history will also record that I voted against that delegation of authority. I never believed that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, and even if it did, I never believed that they posed any imminent threat to the United States. Third principle, quote, every conceivable diplomatic option must be exhausted, close quote. History will record that our president instead thumbed his nose at the United Nations and at almost all diplomatic options in his rush to lead us into this foolhardy war. Fourth principle, quote, a unilateral first strike would undermine the moral authority of the United States, destabilize the Middle East region, and undermine the ability of our nation to address unmet domestic priorities, close quote. The passage of time has demonstrated, and history will record, that every single one of these concerns was legitimate and warranted. Fifth principle, quote, any post-strike plan for maintaining stability in the region would be costly and require a long-term commitment, close quote. We haven't yet gotten to a level of stability that we're trying to maintain, but the cost of this war to date exceeds $500 billion. That's costly and with no end in sight. If we continue to follow the President, the duration of our commitment has no end in sight and no plan to bring home or redeploy our troops. Increasing the number of troops in Iraq does not make ending the war more foreseeable. Past troop increases in Iraq have paraded under different names than surge, but make no mistake about it, this is not the first time the United States will have increased troop levels, and each time they have been met with greater levels of violence. From December of 2003 to April 2004, the troop increase paraded under the name troop rotation, and resulted in an increase from 122,000 to 137,000 troops. Yet April of 2004 was the second deadliest month for U.S. forces. From November 2004 to March 2005, the increase paraded under the name Improving Counterinsurgency Operations after the Fallujah Offensive, or Increasing Security after January 2005. Increased troops.
I gladly yield the gentleman 30 seconds.
Thank you. I'll wrap up.
Yielded some time.
We increased our troop level to 150,000 troops. The result, no impact on violence increase. And again, September and to December of 2005, we went to 160,000 troops. Still no decrease in violence. In most respects, what the President has proposed is business as usual, simply under a different name. It did not work before, and there is little prospect that it will work this time.
Time is
Madam
expired.
Speaker, this resolution is one that we should support and bring our troops home.